What if your reality has already changed, but you haven't noticed yet? Not dramatically. You didn't wake up in another universe. The sky didn't change color. There wasn't a flash of light announcing that you had crossed into another timeline. Instead, the shift may have appeared in much smaller ways. A routine suddenly feels wrong. A coincidence happens once, then twice, then 5 times. A place you visited hundreds of times somehow feels different. You become unusually sensitive to light, sound, people, or environments, or you suddenly feel compelled to change a habit you've maintained for years. Are these signs that you literally jumped into another quantum universe? Science cannot currently establish that, but quantum physics, neuroscience, probability, predictive processing, and mindfulness give us something surprisingly useful: methods for detecting when our experienced reality is changing. Today, we're going to perform a reality check. Here are 7 science-inspired methods for identifying which timeline you are currently reinforcing and whether your life may already be moving toward a different one. Welcome to Transmutation Vortex. Method 1. The Observer Effect. Notice what changes. When you start looking in quantum mechanics, measurement matters. At microscopic scales, the way a system is measured affects what can be observed about that system. But this idea is often stretched far beyond what physics actually proves. Quantum mechanics does not scientifically demonstrate that simply thinking about a different life causes you to jump into another universe. However, something fascinating does happen when we bring the idea of observation into everyday psychology. Attention changes experience. Imagine that tomorrow morning you decide to look for everything that seems unusual. You notice your commute, the conversations around you, your emotional reactions, the timing of events, objects in familiar places, people behaving differently. Suddenly, your ordinary reality appears filled with anomalies. But here is the important question: did reality change, or did your attention change? Possibly the second, and that distinction is extremely important. Your brain cannot consciously process every piece of information surrounding you, so attention acts like a filter. What you repeatedly search for becomes easier to detect. This gives us our first reality check. For 7 days, write down 3 things each day that were noticeably different from your normal pattern. Don't immediately label them supernatural. Simply observe a different reaction, a changed routine, an unexpected opportunity, a conversation that would normally bother you but suddenly doesn't. Because sometimes the first evidence of a new timeline isn't that the world changed, it's that you did. Method 2. Synchronicity Clustering. Stop counting coincidences. Start tracking them. One coincidence is easy to dismiss. But what happens when they begin clustering? You think about someone you haven't spoken to in years, and they contact you. You repeatedly encounter the same unusual word. 3 unrelated people recommend the same book. You begin considering a new career, and suddenly conversations, opportunities, and information connected to that field appear everywhere. This is where we need probability. Humans are extremely powerful pattern recognition machines, sometimes too powerful. Our brains can detect meaning even inside random events. So instead of saying, "I saw 11:11 3 times," I shifted timelines. Try something more interesting. Document the cluster. Write down the event, the date, what you were thinking about beforehand, how unusual the coincidence actually was, and whether it produced a meaningful consequence. Because frequency matters. Suppose you're thinking about buying a common car and suddenly see that model everywhere. That isn't necessarily extraordinary. Thousands may already be around you. But imagine independently encountering the same obscure concept through a stranger, a book, a conversation, and an unexpected opportunity within 48 hours. Now you have something worth investigating, not necessarily proof of another universe, but potentially evidence that your attention, environment, behavior, and opportunities are converging around a new direction. That convergence is what I call synchronicity clustering. Don't just ask, was that a sign? Ask, is a pattern forming? Method 3. The sensory shift test. Whether reality actually feels different. Have you ever walked outside and thought, something feels different today? The sunlight looks unusually vivid. Music sounds deeper. A familiar room somehow feels unfamiliar. Your body feels lighter or heavier. Your energy seems dramatically higher or lower. Before calling this a timeline shift, remember something important. Your sensory experience is not a direct recording of reality. Your brain constructs your experience from sensory information, expectations, attention, memory, and internal bodily signals. That means your internal state can dramatically alter how the external world feels. Stress can make sound overwhelming. Calmness can make colors appear more noticeable. Fatigue changes perception. Mood changes attention. Even expectations influence what your brain emphasizes. So perform a sensory reality check. Rate these 5 things from 1 to 10. Light sensitivity, sound sensitivity, physical energy, emotional intensity, environmental familiarity. Track them for 7 days. Then look for patterns. Maybe the world isn't becoming brighter. Maybe you're sleeping better. Maybe the cafe didn't suddenly become uncomfortable. Maybe you've changed enough that the environment no longer matches you. And that leads to an important principle. A changing internal state can make an unchanged world feel like an entirely different reality. Method 4. The prediction error test. Notice when reality stops matching your expectations. Your brain is constantly predicting what will happen next. You expect your friend to react a certain way. You expect Mondays to feel exhausting. You expect yourself to procrastinate. You expect certain opportunities to be unavailable to you. And when reality matches those expectations, your world feels stable. But transformation becomes interesting when prediction errors start accumulating. You expect yourself to avoid the gym, but you go. You expect a difficult conversation, but it becomes peaceful. You expect rejection, but receive an opportunity. You expect yourself to repeat an old emotional reaction, and suddenly you don't. Pause when this happens, because this may be one of the strongest practical signs that your personal timeline is changing. Your future is partly constructed from repeated behaviors. When your behavior becomes unpredictable to your old identity, your future outcomes can begin changing. Try this question every night. What happened today that the old version of me would not have predicted? Write down the answer. After several weeks, something remarkable may become visible. Your predictions about yourself may become outdated. And when your old identity can no longer accurately predict your behavior, you are no longer living according to the same pattern. Method 5. The memory consistency check. Separate reality glitches from memory glitches. This one is crucial. You remember an object being somewhere else. You remember someone saying something differently. You swear a detail has changed. It can feel like evidence of a reality shift. But human memory isn't a perfect recording system. Memory is reconstructive. Each time we recall an event, our brain rebuilds aspects of that memory. Details can shift, information can disappear, later experiences can influence earlier recollections. So create an external reference point. Journal, take notes, record important decisions, keep dated photographs when appropriate. Then when something feels strangely different, compare your memory against the record. Sometimes you'll discover, I remembered that incorrectly. But other times you'll discover something more useful. No, my environment genuinely changed. That difference matters. A reality check shouldn't make you distrust reality. It should make you better at distinguishing perception from evidence. Method 6. The future self echo. Watch for behaviors that arrive before the identity. Now we reach one of the most powerful ideas we've explored on this channel, your future self. Imagine a version of you 12 months from now, healthier, more disciplined, financially stronger, more peaceful, more creative, more aligned with the life you want. Now imagine that version of you has completely different daily habits. What happens when those habits begin appearing before you've consciously become that person? Suddenly, you want to wake up earlier. You lose interest in something that once consumed your attention. You feel compelled to organize your finances. You want to exercise, create, study, leave an unhealthy environment, start the project, clean the room, change your routine. It can feel as though your future self is somehow pulling you forward. Scientifically, we don't need to assume information is literally traveling backward through time. There is another fascinating possibility. Your brain maintains models of who you are and who you expect to become. When your desired identity becomes psychologically powerful enough, your present behavior can begin reorganizing around that model. In other words, the imagined future begins changing present decisions. That creates a feedback loop. Future identity influences present behavior. Present behavior changes future probability. Future probability strengthens the identity, and the cycle repeats. So whenever an unexpected positive impulse appears, ask, would the version of me I am becoming do this? If the answer is yes, follow the signal. Not because you've proven another timeline exists, but because you may have found the behavioral bridge leading toward it. Method 7. The timeline trajectory test. Stop asking where you are. Ask where your pattern is taking you. This final reality check combines everything. Take a piece of paper and create 3 columns. Label them: past self, current self, future self, under past self. Write 5 patterns that previously defined your life. Under current self, write what you're actually doing now. Then under future self, write the behaviors associated with the reality you want. Now compare them. This gives you something far more valuable than a mystical label. It gives you trajectory. If your current habits resemble your past more than your desired future, then regardless of what synchronicities you see, you're probably still reinforcing your previous trajectory. But if your behavior, environment, attention, relationships and decisions increasingly resemble the future version of you, something has changed. Maybe we shouldn't think about timelines only as parallel universes. Think of them as probability pathways. Every repeated action strengthens certain outcomes while weakening others. Wake up at the same time, think the same thoughts, enter the same environments, repeat the same emotional responses, make the same decisions, and tomorrow becomes easier to predict. Change enough variables, and prediction becomes harder. Eventually, the person you used to be may no longer be capable of predicting the life you're creating, and perhaps that is the most practical definition of a timeline shift. Your old pattern can no longer accurately predict your future. So which timeline are you in? Don't answer immediately. Observe, track, compare, test. Look at your attention, your coincidences, your senses, your prediction errors, your memories, your future self-impulses, and most importantly, your trajectory. Quantum physics gives us extraordinary questions about observation, probability, measurement, and the nature of reality. But we should be careful not to turn unanswered questions into scientific proof. Science has not established that human consciousness allows us to deliberately jump between parallel universes. Yet there is something we can demonstrate in our own lives. Attention changes what we notice. Expectations influence perception. Habits influence outcomes. Identity influences behavior. And behavior changes the probability of what happens next. So perhaps the most important question isn't, did I enter another universe? Maybe the question is, am I becoming the version of myself who experiences a different future? Because you don't need reality to suddenly transform around you. Sometimes the first shift happens quietly. A different thought, a different reaction, a different decision, repeated long enough, until one day you look around and realize your life no longer resembles the reality you came from. And when that happens, perform the reality check again, because you may already be standing at the beginning of your next timeline. If this resonated with you, subscribe to Transmutation Vortex and watch the Future Self video next, because that's where we'll go deeper into how the identity you're becoming can begin influencing the decisions you're making right now. Until next time, observe carefully, choose deliberately, and become the future you intend to meet.